there's some questions about woodland creation and some things for you to think about potentially before you start your journey towards woodland creation. And here's a picture really of I say typical farm. Blue dots represent areas on your farm where woodland could benefit, and I'll just spin through those for you. So up here, if you can see my cursor in the upland area, woodland there would help reduce flood risk lower down in the catchment. Over here, planting woodland will connect to existing pieces of ancient woodland. Over here, this shelter belt could be improved and thickened for the stock that's in that particular field there. Planting next to a watercourse here would provide dappled shade on that watercourse, which is important to reduce the temperature of that water and improve the habitat for breeding fish. Moving down the river here, if you planted here next to a watercourse, next to a river, next to a meander that's eroding that bank, trees there could help stabilize that erosion. Up here on this hillside here, we've got carefully sort of planted trees would help improve water quality on chalk hillsides. Further down the slope, we've got trees that are planted along, say, with the contours of a slope can help mitigate against soil runoff. This corner piece here, woodland can be particularly useful when planted in corner plots because it makes a sensible and economical use of the land, especially if it's lying wet or if it floods regularly. And over here by the farmyard itself, we've got woodland next to a barn could help reduce ammonia emissions. And then here, crucially, it's providing a buffer between this watercourse and the farmyard itself, slowing any runoff from that farmyard, capturing it in that woodland system. Some things for you to consider as well, some questions to ask yourself and some things to ponder. Planting before Christmas will limit tree mortality. So between the months of October and early December, ideal times, you can still plant into the new year and into early spring. Cell-grown trees will cost more, but allow for successful establishments or more successful establishments. So you should weigh up the benefits of that. Buying trees in bulk, that reduces the costs, obviously. So economies of scale here, really important. Consider planting more trees than required during the initial planting, and that will remove the need to beat up, hopefully. Carefully match those trees to the site. So we mentioned before the ecological site classification tool, and we're going to talk through that shortly, but that is the piece of software which helps you pair tree species with your particular plot of land. Get weed control right in the first time round, and try and have a simple design while still being UK Forest Standard compliant. Some things to consider here. So we've got an important piece of information there, I suppose, would be the Guide to Planning a New Woodland in England, which is our new publication. It's definitely worth taking a look at that, and the link is there. And we mentioned the UK Forest Standard as being the overarching compliance document, and the link is there for you to take a look at. So the Forestry Commission can support you with the grants and for planning and planting and achieving that accreditation. But also, we offer advice on woodland management. You might already have woodlands on your site. We can offer advice on woodlands that you currently have. We can offer advice on tree health. If you have historic environment or historic interest on your site, either through archaeology or scheduled monuments, we can offer assistance. If you sit in a priority landscape, either through an AONB or a national park, we can offer advice on that. And also, if you're in a priority species and habitat area. If you want to improve your forests and make them more productive, then we can provide advice, and crucially also advice on deer management. Deer management is really important, and I'd like to put a slide on this if possible, because I think you'll see here the ranges of the 6 main species of deer in the UK. This is in 2016 from the from the British Deer Society. And it's obvious that deer is everywhere, in various forms. If you've not seen deer on your land, it doesn't mean to say it's not there. So it's important to consider the damage that deer can provide on your farm. And here's a browse line on a hedge line. So prior to planning your woodland, it's important that you consider deer management and try and get early intervention if possible. We've got specific deer officers that work in the region, and it's important that you know who they are, and they're always welcome to have phone calls and chats with people, and make site visits. And I'll provide the details of our deer officer for the East and East Midlands shortly. So how can we help going forward? So there are 3 recent publications which I'll draw your attention to, which in these 3 leaflets has provided the majority of the information in this module. So it's useful to know that those 3 links there will take you to those 3 leaflets. One on planting your future, the case for trees, one on the top 5 reasons to plant woodland, and then one specifically for farmers, how woodland creation can benefit your farm there.